The Vex ship landed with a soft hum on the Mars landing pad. Commander Ellis Hayes watched from the window of the Earth Embassy, her face giving away nothing. 20 years had passed since the aliens had come to Earth. 20 years since they had shown humans just how small they were in the universe. "Commander, Overseer Telex has arrived," said Tom, her assistant. "The Council expects you in 5 minutes." Ellis nodded and straightened her simple gray uniform. The Vex didn't allow fancy clothes for human representatives. No need for the conquered to look important. "Has Dr. Reed checked in today?" she asked quietly. Tom handed her a tablet. "Yes, all systems normal. Antarctic base reports no problems." Ellis deleted the message immediately. Even these small exchanges were dangerous. The Vex thought they knew everything humans did. They were wrong. The council chamber was cold, as always. The 7 alien races that made up the Galactic Council sat on raised platforms. Humans got the lowest seat, of course. Ellis took her place and waited to be noticed. Overseer Telex, tall and gray-skinned with 4 glowing eyes, finally turned to her. "Commander Hayes, your quarterly report, please." Ellis touched her tablet and sent the files. "Earth continues to operate within all technology restrictions, Overseer. Our power usage is within allowed limits. All banned research has stopped. Human population growth is stable." The Drox representative, a bulky creature with red scales, made a growling noise. "And yet we detect unusual energy readings from your southern polar region. Explain." Ellis had been ready for this. "We believe it's a natural effect, Council member. Earth's magnetic field creates unusual patterns near the poles. It's a planetary feature that predates human civilization." Telex's upper eyes narrowed. No advanced scanning was authorized in that region. "No advanced scanning was used," Ellis replied calmly. "We observed with simple tools, as permitted." The Vex leader studied her for a long moment. Ellis kept her face blank. The aliens believed humans couldn't lie well. Another mistake. "We will inspect this phenomenon ourselves," Telex finally said. "Prepare your polar facilities for my visit in 3 days." Ellis bowed her head respectfully. "Of course, Overseer." As soon as she was back on her transport ship to Earth, Ellis secured the communication room and entered 6 different codes to open a secure channel. "Marcus, we have a problem," she said when Dr. Reed's face appeared on the screen. "Telex is coming to Antarctica in 3 days. They detected something." Marcus Reed rubbed his tired eyes. At 55, he looked much older. Running a secret lab under alien occupation did that to a person. "How bad?" he asked. "Bad enough. The Drox are suspicious. You need to activate Project Mirror right now." Marcus nodded grimly. "We're ready. We've been drilling for this. By the time Telex arrives, all he'll see is what they expect to see. And the real work. Level 10 is completely shielded now. They'll never detect it. The quantum system is stable. Ellis, it works. We did it." Ellis allowed herself a small smile. "Keep it hidden just a little longer. I also heard rumors today about their plans for human relocation." Marcus's face hardened. "How many?" "Millions. Mining colonies on the outer planets. The Council voted yesterday. Those are death sentences. The conditions." "I know." Ellis cut him off. "That's why we need to speed up our timeline. How soon can the system be ready?" Marcus looked away, calculating. 4 months, maybe 3 if we push." "Make it 2, Ellis said. "We're out of time." The Antarctic Research Station looked exactly like what the Vex expected. Outdated equipment, simple living quarters, and humans working on basic projects approved by the Council. Ellis walked beside Overseer Telex, explaining each section. "This is our main laboratory," she said, opening a door to a room where scientists worked with microscopes and test tubes. "We study marine life from the Antarctic Sea. The Council has approved this research for potential medical applications." Telex walked among the humans, who kept their eyes down respectfully. None showed the fear or hatred they truly felt. "And these energy readings?" he asked, holding up a device that showed waves of data. Dr. Reed stepped forward, looking appropriately nervous in front of the alien. "We believe it comes from here, Overseer." He pointed to a map. "There's a natural formation under the ice that contains unusual minerals. When solar radiation hits the planet a certain way, it creates the energy pattern you detected." Telex studied the map. "Take me there." The ice cave looked perfectly natural. That's because it was. The real facility was 2 miles east and 500 feet deeper. Reed pointed to dark rocks embedded in the ice. "These contain natural magnetic elements. We've measured the output. It matches your readings exactly." Telex scanned the rocks himself. Ellis held her breath. This was the moment of greatest danger, if the alien detected anything unusual. But the Overseer finally nodded. "Primitive planetary features. Interesting, but ultimately insignificant." Ellis nodded respectfully. "We thought you should see it for yourself, Overseer." That night, after Talax had returned to his ship, Ellis met Marcus in the real facility, deep under the ice. They passed through 5 security doors before reaching the central chamber. Unlike the fake lab above, this place hummed with advanced technology. Screens displayed data that would make any Vex scientist stare in shock. A large circular platform in the center glowed with soft blue light. "Show me," Ellis said. Marcus pressed a sequence on his control panel. The circular platform projected a 3D image of Earth, surrounded by hundreds of tiny dots. "The Vex ships," Marcus said. "Every one of them. Tracked in real time. Something they think is impossible for us. And our defense system." Marcus smiled and touched another control. The image changed to show a web of energy surrounding Earth. Quantum resonance disruptors. Not weapons that overpower them. That's what they expect us to try. This system simply turns their technology off. Ellis stared at the display. "And they have no idea this is possible. Their science developed differently than ours. They believe certain principles are fixed. We discovered they're not." Marcus looked at her. "The Vex think in straight lines. Humans think around corners. That's our advantage." Ellis watched the display, thinking of the millions of humans who would soon be sent off-world as slaves if they failed. "Keep working," she said. "We need to be ready. The Vex think we follow their rules. Soon, we'll show them how wrong they are." As she left the hidden facility, Ellis passed hundreds of humans working around the clock. They all looked up as she walked by, their eyes filled with the same thing: hope. The one thing the aliens had never managed to take away. 2 days after Talax left Antarctica, Ellis sat in the council chamber on Mars again. The atmosphere was tense. "We have reviewed your explanation for the energy readings," Talax said, his 4 eyes fixed on her. "Our scientists find it plausible." Ellis kept her face neutral, though inside she felt relief wash over her. "Thank you, Overseer. Earth's natural phenomena can be unusual." The Drox representative slammed a clawed hand on the table. "I find it convenient. Too convenient." "What does the Honorable Drox representative suggest?" Ellis asked calmly. "That humans are hiding something," the red-scaled alien growled. 20 years is a long time. Long enough for your kind to forget their place." Telex raised a hand for silence. "The Drox concerns are noted, but our inspection found nothing irregular. Commander Hayes, you are dismissed." Ellis bowed and left the chamber. In the hallway, she allowed herself to take a deep breath. The deception was working. But for how long? Back at the Antarctic facility, Dr. Reed led Ellis to a secure meeting room. "We had to shut down entirely while you were gone," he said, "just in case they sent scans without telling us." "Good thinking," Ellis replied. "But we're clear for now. What progress have we made?" Reed's tired face broke into a smile as he pressed a button on the wall. A hidden door slid open, revealing a small, dark chamber. In the center sat a cube about the size of a human fist. It glowed with soft blue light. "This is it?" Ellis asked, looking at the small object. "This is everything," Reed answered. "The quantum core, small enough to hide, powerful enough to change the world." Ellis stepped closer. "Explain it to me again." Reed pointed to the cube. "The Vex think in straight lines. Their technology is built on rigid rules. If A happens, then B happens. Always the same. Their ships, weapons, shields, all built on the same ideas. But this works differently. Completely differently. Human brains make intuitive leaps. We see patterns and connections that don't follow straight lines. We use that thinking to create this." Reed touched the cube gently. "It doesn't just process information faster. It processes it in a way the Vex can't understand. Where they see either A or B, we found a way to make A and B exist at the same time." Ellis stared at the small device. "And this can shut down their systems. Better, it can take control of them. Their technology becomes our technology." Ellis thought about what this meant. "How much longer until we can deploy globally?" 6 weeks. We have 50 smaller units ready now. Full deployment needs more time." Ellis shook her head. "We may not have 6 weeks." The relocation order. An alarm interrupted her. Reed rushed to a screen on the wall. "Someone's accessing our Moscow network," he said, typing quickly. "Unauthorized entry. The signal pattern. It's Drox." Ellis felt her heart race. "They're onto us." In a small apartment in Moscow, 6 humans gathered around a table. Maps and diagrams covered the walls. A woman named Anna was speaking. "The Antarctic team has made progress. We need to be ready when they give the signal." None of them noticed the air vent in the corner shimmer slightly. Behind the advanced camouflage, a Drox spy recorded everything. "They found our Moscow cell," Ellis told Reed through a secure line from her quarters in the Earth Embassy on Mars. "The Drox are bringing evidence to the Council tomorrow." "How bad?" "Bad enough. They know we have organized resistance groups. They suspect advanced tech, but they don't know what kind yet." Reed ran a hand through his gray hair. "We're not ready, Ellis. We need those 6 weeks. We don't have 6 weeks. We may not have 6 days." Ellis made a decision. "Activate contingency Prometheus." Reed's eyes widened. "That's only for worst-case scenarios." "This is worst case." The Moscow group mentioned Antarctica by name. "It's only a matter of time before they find us." Ellis leaned closer to the screen. "Get as many units deployed as you can. Focus on major Vex installations and ships. We won't get global coverage, but we can hit their command centers." "What about you?" "The moment we activate, they'll know you've been lying." Ellis smiled grimly. "I'll handle the Council. Just be ready." The next day, Ellis entered the Council chamber to find all 7 alien representatives already seated. Telex looked at her with all 4 eyes narrowed. "Commander Hayes, the Drox have brought disturbing evidence," he said without greeting. "Humans organizing resistance against the Council." Ellis kept her face calm. "The Council has always permitted humans freedom of speech and assembly." The Drox representative stood up. "They spoke of advanced technology. They mentioned your Antarctic facility." "What exactly did they say?" Ellis asked, playing for time. She needed to keep them talking while Reed prepared. The Drox pressed a button, and a recording played. Anna's voice filled the room. "The Antarctic team has made progress. We need to be ready when they give the signal." "This proves nothing," Ellis said when it finished. "People talk. People hope. It doesn't mean." "Enough," the Drox shouted. "I have dispatched warships to your planet. The human problem will be solved once and for all." Ellis felt cold fear spread through her body. "You've sent warships without Council approval." Telex looked troubled. "This is irregular," Drox representative. "It is necessary," the red-scaled alien said firmly. 10 warships approach Earth now. They will begin by destroying the Antarctic facility. Ellis tried to keep her panic hidden. The council must vote on this. This is against all protocols. The time for talking is over, the Drox growled. Humans have been given 20 years to accept their place. They have failed. Ellis knew she had only one option now. She touched a hidden button on her wrist device, sending a single word to Reed. Now, in the Antarctic facility, Reed received Ellis's message and moved quickly to the control room. Activate all units, he ordered his team. Contingency Prometheus is go. Around the world, humans opened hidden compartments in homes, offices, and underground bunkers. They removed small blue cubes and activated them. 50 quantum resonance disruptors came to life, creating an invisible web of energy that spread across key locations. As the Drox warships entered Earth's atmosphere, their commanders noticed something strange. Warning lights flashed across their control panels. Weapons systems failed. Engines sputtered. The largest ship, aimed directly at Antarctica, suddenly lost power completely. It hung in the air for one moment before gravity took hold. The invasion had begun, but not as the Drox had planned. Alarms blared throughout the council chamber on Mars. The alien representatives stood in shock as screens showed the Drox flagship tumbling from the sky over Antarctica. 9 other warships hung motionless in Earth's atmosphere, their lights flickering. What is happening? Telex demanded, all 4 eyes wide with disbelief. The Drox representative slammed his controls in fury. Our ships report total systems failure. This is impossible. Ellis stood calmly in the center of the chaos. Inside, her heart raced, but she kept her face neutral. Everything depended on these next few minutes. You should call off your attack, she said quietly. The Drox turned to her, rage distorting his scaled face. You, what have you done? What you forced us to do, Ellis replied. Contingency Prometheus is active. Your ships are now powerless. Telex stepped toward her. Explain yourself, Commander. Ellis took a deep breath. 20 years of deception were about to end. You thought we followed your rules, she said. You were wrong. At the Antarctic facility, Dr. Reed watched data flow across screens. 50 quantum disruptors were working perfectly, creating a web that covered major population centers and key VEX installations. The flagship is down, reported Tom, who had joined Reed's team 6 months ago. Crashed in the ocean, no casualties. Reed nodded. And the others? Hanging in the sky, completely disabled. Their crews are panicking. Reed allowed himself a small smile. Send the message to all ships. On board each disabled Drox warship, the same words appeared on every screen in perfect Drox language. Power systems will be restored for safe landing only. Any attempt to reactivate weapons will result in complete shutdown. In the council chamber, Ellis faced the 7 alien representatives alone. No human had ever spoken to them as an equal before. Today, that would change. For 20 years, you believe humans were following your technology restrictions, she said. We let you believe that. But humans have always found ways to solve problems differently than you expect. You developed forbidden technology. The Drox shouted. Ellis shook her head. No, we developed new technology. Technology you never imagined possible, because you think differently than we do. She touched her wrist device, and a hologram appeared in the center of the chamber. It showed the quantum core, the small blue cube. This isn't a weapon in the way you understand weapons, Ellis explained. It doesn't try to overpower your technology. It speaks to it in a language it understands better than you do. Talax stepped closer to the hologram, studying it with scientific curiosity, despite his shock. How does it work? He asked quietly. Quantum resonance, Ellis said. Your ships and weapons are built on principles you consider unbreakable. We found they aren't unbreakable. They're just specific frequencies in the universe. Change the frequency, and the principles change. The council room was silent as the aliens tried to understand. While you thought we were studying your permitted technology, Ellis continued, We were actually analyzing its foundations, finding the weaknesses not in the materials, but in the thinking behind them. Impossible, another alien representative said. Our science is thousands of years advanced from yours. Advanced in one direction, Ellis corrected. But there are other directions to explore. You built higher and higher walls. We found a way to walk through them. Around the world, humans watched the skies as Drox warships slowly descended, guided to safe landing zones. 20 years of fear began to lift as news spread. The aliens' technology had failed. In New York, a young boy pointed up at a massive ship hovering helplessly over the harbor. "Are they leaving?" he asked his father. The man shook his head. "No, but everything is changing." In the Antarctic facility, Reed received an emergency call from a base in the Rocky Mountains. "We have a problem," said the base commander. "The Drox launched smaller attack ships before we disabled their fleet. 3 are heading toward Antarctica. Our disruptors aren't affecting them." Reed frowned. "How is that possible?" "They're old tech. Mechanical, not quantum-based. Very basic but still dangerous." Reed understood immediately. The Drox had backup systems, technology so old and simple that the quantum disruptors couldn't interface with them. "Smart move. How long until they reach us?" he asked. 20 minutes, maybe less." Reed turned to his team. "Activate the defense grid and get me Ellis." In the council chamber, Ellis's wrist device beeped. She checked it quickly, then looked up at the aliens with determination. "It seems the Drox have some old tricks," she said. "Attack ships heading to Antarctica." The Drox representative gave a cruel smile. "You didn't think we would rely only on our advanced systems, did you? Some problems require simple solutions." Telex turned to the Drox in alarm. "You ordered an attack without council approval." "To protect us all," the Drox insisted. "Their facility must be destroyed before this technology spreads." Ellis looked at Talax. "You have a choice to make, Overseer. Right now, either stop this attack or watch what happens when humans are truly threatened." Talax hesitated, looking between Ellis and the Drox. "The attack continues," the Drox declared. "The human deception ends today." Ellis nodded grimly and spoke into her wrist device. "Marcus, they won't call it off. Deploy everything." In bases hidden around the world, humans activated systems that had been waiting years for this moment. In underwater hangars, mountain bunkers, and desert caves, ships of human design powered up. They looked nothing like Vex vessels. These were built on human principles, streamlined and adaptable. As the 3 Drox attack ships approached Antarctica, the ice around the facility suddenly broke apart. A massive platform rose from below, revealing not just a research station, but a launch base. 5 human ships shot into the sky, their engines glowing with blue energy. The Drox attack ships fired missiles, but they detonated harmlessly against shields the aliens couldn't detect, let alone penetrate. The human vessels surrounded the attackers. No shots were fired. Instead, blue light enveloped the Drox ships. One by one, their engines shut down. In the council chamber, the aliens watched in stunned silence as screens showed the Drox attack neutralized in seconds. "This is just the beginning," Ellis said quietly. "We have ships and facilities like this worldwide. We never wanted war. We still don't, but we will never be slaves again." The council chamber was silent. 20 years of certainty had just been shattered. Humanity had shown its true face at last. The council chamber was in chaos. Representatives from all 7 alien races argued loudly while screens showed human ships hovering around disabled Drox attackers. "This is an act of war," the Drox representative shouted, his scales flaring red with rage. "You attacked them first," Talax reminded him, his 4 eyes narrowing, "without council approval." Ellis stood in the center, waiting for the noise to die down. When it finally did, she spoke clearly. "For 20 years, you've controlled Earth. You limited our technology, restricted our growth, and now planned to send millions of us to mining colonies. She looked at each alien representative in turn. Did you really think we would just accept that forever? Talax stepped forward. How did you do this, Commander Hayes? How did humans develop technology that can disable our most advanced systems? Ellis smiled for the first time. Because you made a fundamental mistake, Overseer. You assumed humans would try to copy your path. We didn't. We found our own. In Antarctica, Dr. Reed directed operations from the command center. The secret facility was now fully revealed, its true size and capabilities no longer hidden. Teams of humans worked at advanced stations, monitoring the disabled Drox ships and the growing fleet of human vessels taking position around Earth. All Drox crews are contained, reported Tom. No casualties on either side. Reed nodded with satisfaction. And our ships. 43 vessels deployed worldwide. More launching every hour. Reed looked at the main screen, which showed Earth from orbit. Small blue dots represented human ships forming a protective network around the planet. After 20 years of hiding, it felt strange to operate in the open. What about the Council ships near Mars? Reed asked. Still active, but not moving. They seem to be waiting for orders. Reed touched a control panel. Let's give them something to think about. Back in the Council chamber, a new hologram appeared in the center of the room. It showed the Antarctic facility in its entirety, not the small research station the aliens had inspected, but a massive complex extending deep under the ice. This is just one of 12 major facilities we've built, Ellis explained. While you thought we were studying basic science, we were analyzing the foundations of your technology and developing our own approach. The hologram changed to show the quantum core again. Our breakthrough wasn't a weapon, Ellis continued. It was a fundamental reimagining of energy manipulation. Your races, with thousands of years of established scientific doctrine, became too rigid to see alternatives. Impossible, whispered one of the alien representatives. Humans are too primitive for such leaps. Are we? Ellis asked. Or did you just want to believe that? You focused so much on preventing us from copying your technology that you never considered we'd create something entirely different. Telex moved closer to study the hologram. This quantum core. It doesn't follow standard unified field principles. No, Ellis agreed. Because we questioned those principles. Where your science sees boundaries, humans see doorways. The Drox representative slammed his fist on the table. Enough of this. The other Council fleets will destroy your planet for this treachery. Ellis shook her head. I wouldn't recommend that. In orbit around Mars, the Council's military fleet suddenly found all their systems displaying the same message in their native languages. Technology should serve peace, not threats. Please stand down. When ship commanders tried to override, their controls stopped responding. Weapons systems went offline. Communication channels closed. Except for one, which connected all ships to each other. A human voice spoke through this channel. This is Dr. Marcus Reed from Earth. Your ships are now under temporary lockdown. No one will be harmed. This is a demonstration, not an attack. In the Council chamber, the alien representatives received urgent messages from their ships. Their faces showed disbelief, then fear. What have you done? Talax asked Ellis quietly. Shown you what's possible, she replied. Your fleet is unharmed but contained, just like the Drox ships at Earth. Ellis walked to the center of the room, looking at each Council member. For 2 decades, you've treated humans as primitive beings to be controlled. That ends today. We don't want war. We don't seek revenge. But we will never again accept chains. At the Antarctic facility, Reed led a small group of visitors through the lower levels. Among them was Talax, who had requested to see the human technology firsthand. The vexed scientist's 4 eyes darted everywhere, taking in details of equipment that defied his understanding of physics. This chamber is where we first developed the quantum core, Reed explained, opening a heavy door. Inside was a circular room with a platform in the center. Above it floated what looked like a small galaxy of light points, swirling in complex patterns. "What is this?" Talax asked, his voice hushed. "We call it the thought mesh," Reed said. "Your race is focused on machines talking to machines. We developed a way for minds to connect directly." He gestured at the swirling lights. Each point represents a human consciousness, scientists working together across continents, sharing thoughts and ideas instantly without detectable signals. Talax stared in amazement. "This shouldn't be possible." "Yet here it is," Reed said simply. "Your hierarchical societies, especially the Vex with your rigid class structure, never developed this due to your inherent fear of truly connected minds." Talax turned to him. "And this is how you advanced so quickly?" Reed nodded. "Humans working as one mind, but with billions of different perspectives. Where your races see problems from one angle, we see them from countless viewpoints simultaneously." He led Talax to a control panel where a small blue cube sat on a platform. "The quantum core doesn't just disrupt your technology," Reed explained. "It understands it on a level your scientists haven't reached. It doesn't overpower systems. It speaks to them." Talax reached toward the cube, then hesitated. "May I?" Reed nodded. The Vex scientist gently picked up the device, feeling its slight warmth. "All this time," Talax said quietly, "we thought we were teaching you. In reality, you were learning things we never considered." "That's the human way," Reed replied. "We adapt. We find new paths. And now we're ready to walk alongside you, not behind you." As the two scientists talked in Antarctica, Ellis continued addressing the Council on Mars. "Humanity offers the Galactic Council a choice," she said firmly. "Continue treating us as enemies, and we will defend ourselves. But recognize us as equals, and we'll share discoveries that could benefit all species." She activated one final hologram, showing human ships positioned around Earth, not as weapons but as shields. "The decision is yours," Ellis said. "But know this, the rules have changed, and they will never be the same again." 3 days after the failed Drox attack, Ellis stood at the window of her quarters on Mars, looking at the stars. So much had changed so quickly. For 20 years, humans had hidden their true abilities. Now, everything was in the open. A soft chime announced a visitor. The door slid open to reveal Talax. "The council is ready," he said simply. Ellis nodded and followed him through the corridors. Guards from different alien races watched her pass. Their eyes held something new: respect and perhaps fear. The council chamber looked different today. Instead of the raised platforms that had kept the alien representatives above the human delegate, a round table now stood in the center. 7 seats for the council races, and 1 for Earth. "Welcome, Commander Hayes," said the eldest council member, a blue-skinned alien named Vaylor. "Please be seated." Ellis took her place at the table, equal with the others for the first time. "The council has spent 3 days discussing recent events," Vaylor continued. "Today we will decide humanity's future status." Ellis looked around the table. "And the Drox representative?" "Recalled by his government," Talax explained. "The unauthorized attack has caused political difficulties for them." "I see." Ellis kept her face neutral, but inside she felt satisfaction. The Drox had overplayed their hand. "We have reviewed the evidence," Vaylor said. "Humans have clearly developed technology beyond our restrictions. The question before us is how to respond." At the Antarctic facility, Reed watched the council meeting through a secure feed. Beside him stood Tom and other key members of the human defense team. "Will they vote for peace?" Tom asked nervously. Reed shrugged. "Hard to say. The Drox want war, but others seem impressed by what we've accomplished." On the screen, the council began formal arguments. Some alien representatives spoke of cooperation, others of the danger humans posed. "Our ships remain ready," Reed said quietly. "Whatever they decide, we won't go back to how things were." "The facts are clear," said a thin, gray alien named Ziv. Humans deceived us for 20 years. They built forbidden technology. They disabled our ships. These are acts of war. Ellis listened calmly as Ziv continued listing human crimes. When he finished, she addressed the council. Yes, we hid our progress, she admitted, because you gave us no choice. You came to Earth claiming to welcome us to the galactic community, but instead imposed limits and control. She stood up, looking at each council member in turn. What would your races have done in our place? Accepted permanent second-class status. Allowed yourselves to be sent as slaves to mining colonies. We offered protection, Ziv argued. Guidance for a young species. You offered a cage, Ellis replied. A comfortable one. Perhaps, but still a cage. Telax leaned forward. What does humanity want now, Commander? Ellis sat back down. Partnership. True partnership. We don't seek dominance. We want to join the galactic community as equals, with all the rights of other council races. And if we refuse? Asked Ziv. Ellis didn't answer directly. Instead, she said, Dr. Reed, are you watching? Reed's voice came through the chamber speakers. I am. Please show the council what humanity could offer as partners. In the Antarctic facility, Reed smiled and pressed a control. A hologram appeared in the council chamber, showing a new design for a starship, unlike anything the aliens had seen before. This vessel combines our quantum resonance technology with traditional propulsion, Reed explained. It could travel twice as fast as current council ships while using half the energy. A hologram changed to show a medical device. This scanner can detect diseases at the cellular level before symptoms appear. It works on all known sentient species. More images followed. Clean energy systems, communication networks, farming methods, all using principles the aliens had never explored. These are just a few examples of what cooperation could achieve, Reed said. Humans don't want to fight. We want to build. Back in the council chamber, the alien representatives whispered among themselves. Ellis waited patiently. This was the moment everything depended on. Finally, Veller spoke. We will now vote on humanity's status. The options are continued restrictions with stronger enforcement, war to subdue Earth completely, or recognition of humans as full council members. One by one, the aliens cast their votes. Ellis held her breath as they spoke. Ziv voted for restrictions. 2 others joined him. No one voted for war, a relief. Telax, Veller, and 1 other voted for partnership. 3 votes for restrictions, 3 votes for partnership. The council was tied. The final vote lies with the Drox, Veller said. Their representative may be absent, but their government has sent their decision. Ellis felt her heart sink. The Drox would never vote for human freedom. Veller opened a sealed message. The Drox vote for continued restrictions. The chamber fell silent. 4 votes to 3. Humanity had lost. Ellis stood slowly. I understand. Then Earth must stand alone. She turned to leave, but Telax's voice stopped her. There is something you should know about council law, Commander, he said. When a vote concerns a species status, that species also has a vote. Ellis turned back, surprised. Earth has a vote. Equal to any council race, Telax confirmed. It seems we forgot our own rules. Veller looked uncomfortable, but nodded. The Vex representative is correct. Earth may cast a vote. Ellis smiled slowly. Then Earth votes for partnership. 4 to 4, Veller announced. A tie means no change can be made to current status. Which is what, exactly? Ellis asked. We've already demonstrated that your restrictions no longer bind us. The council members looked at each other, realizing the truth of her words. Across Earth, humans watched screens as news spread. The council was deadlocked. No official change in status, but no attack either. In cities worldwide, people celebrated cautiously. Human ships still circled the planet, ready to defend if needed. But for now, there was hope. 2 weeks later, Ellis and Talax stood on an observation deck on Mars, looking out at the stars together. "Your council is still debating," Ellis said. "How much longer do you think it will take?" Talax's 4 eyes blinked in the Vex equivalent of a shrug. "Change comes slowly to species as old as ours, but it does come. And meanwhile, we have what humans call a standoff. You keep your technology, we keep our concerns, and we both keep talking." Ellis nodded. "That's a start. There is something I've wanted to ask you," Talax said. "What else have you been developing in secret all these years?" Ellis smiled and looked out at the vast expanse of space. "The real question isn't what we built when you weren't looking," she said. "It's what we'll build next when we work together." Talax considered this, then made the Vex gesture of agreement. "I look forward to finding out." As they stood side by side, a new ship approached the Mars station. Unlike the rigid designs of Vex vessels or the sleek lines of human craft, this one showed elements of both, the first joint project between the species. A new era had begun, not through war or surrender, but through the most human quality of all, finding a way forward that no one else had imagined possible. The end.